Mike, Lee. You mentioned a couple minutes ago taxes are something very important to you that we need to have relief on, and I can't agree with you more. One of the most onerous of those taxes, many people tell me, is the property tax. And the property tax actually threatens your right to own property. And yet, the rural counties, communities, and school districts are wholly dependent on a property tax, and that a consumption or sales tax would not serve their interest because there's not sufficient sales to do it. So what would you do to relieve the rural communities of the onerous property taxes?
That's a very good question. We were just talking about that the other day. I don't know that you're ever going to get rid of the property tax completely. And it is unfair. When I built my funeral home, I was assessed a value that was probably about 50% more than it cost me to build the funeral home. One of the problems with that, besides just being a lot of money, in that first year of opening the funeral home, it can make or break you. It can put you out of business. And if it does that, we've lost valuable revenue. One of the things, I don't know if you'll ever get rid of it completely. I think you may have to look at something to relieve that where you may still have a property tax, but a whole lot less, and combine it with a consumption tax. Because, some of our senior citizens, if they spend less, they go out and buy less, they're going to spend a whole lot less. They're going to pay a lot less in taxes. Those that spend a lot more out consuming, they're going to make up the difference. But I don't think you're going to have any situation where we're going to be able to go completely from the property tax to a consumption tax. We're going to have some combination therein. But I will tell you that something has to be done. Whether that's the right answer, or whether you or these people, we all sit down together, come up with something, or whether all of us have to put our heads together. I don't care where the answer comes from, as long as we find something that will relieve the tax burdens on the citizens of Texas. And you know what? It will contribute to the economy. It truly will. It will contribute to the economy. If people have more money in their pockets, they're going to spend it. Instead of letting the government spend it, we have the right to spend it ourselves. We can decide what we want to spend it on. Did it answer your question? Maybe, sort of?
You lost me through part of it, but yeah.
Okay.
What I'm looking, what is there? Let me just take, for example, Hallsville, Tatum, Union Grove school districts that are, Carthage, that are rural areas. And you can say we're going to alleviate, but spending, they're going to have more money because of less property tax, but there are not sufficient businesses.
Mm-hmm. Here's the problem. I know where you're going. Here's the problem that I see. And I talk about this all the time. We've got these small communities, populations dying out. Senior citizens are passing away. That's part of our tax base. Just what I said when I came out in my opening statement, we don't get the benefit of those kids because there's no jobs here. So we export those kids someplace else to work. Now we've got double the problem because it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Inevitably, the schools are going to pay the price for that. The only answer to that, yes, there's, I think, a three-pronged approach. One, we need to reduce the property tax the way that we see it, change the way that it's done. Two, maybe implement some type of consumption tax. But the biggest answer to that is to bring in business. You can't squeeze blood out of a turnip. We've got to go out and bring in businesses to create business in our communities. Even in those small towns. Where else are you going to get the tax base from? You can only pay so much. If you don't have somebody that has a job there to pay it, how are you going to get it?
Let me just go on, just one short add on to this. Would you support a state tax with cumulative funds at a state board of education level to fund the rural schools in order to alleviate the property tax?
You know what? I'm in favor of something like that, but I would need first, before I can commit myself, I need to sit down, look at the budget, see where there are things that we can cut to move budgets around. As I said, there is only so much money. We talked a while ago, we had somebody mention, we were talking about Medicaid. As an audio prosthologist, a hearing aid guy, I see it all the time. And the state was very good a few years ago where they made some cuts in that Medicaid program with the hearing aids because they're paying a fortune. We had guys who were getting hearing aids that didn't need them. They didn't want them, and they would say, I don't want it. I don't want the diabetic shoes. I don't want the wheelchair as soon as they get out of the hospital. We've got to look at things where there's waste, fraud, and abuse and do some rearranging. That's what we have to do.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.